Speaking of IT services industry, India's IT services industry, and we are of course in the capital of this very proud story. $250 billion now has been a very massive success. But at the same time, in the realm of products, innovations, it could be argued we have some catching up to do. What would it take for us to move up the value chain? What would it take for a next Google or Nvidia to emerge out of India?
A lot of work is actually happening around. If you look at, let's say, connect this with chip design, right? Much of the work which was low value work, let's say 20 years ago, people started moving up the value chain. Today, if you ask the guys who are sitting here, who would be in the chip design parts of the entire IT services, from customer evaluation or understanding what the customer requires to defining what the chip would be, defining the product, and then breaking it down into the subsystems. The entire value chain is today done in India. And that has spawned many startups. For example, in the semiconductor mission, we have approved about 25 odd applications for design of chips and chipsets and SoC. Out of that, 13 have done so well, and 3 of them have actually started attracting venture capital. And some of the chipsets that these applicants are designing, one of them is going to be a totally new architecture for RF in a mobile phone. So those kind of things are also coming. So I would say that the journey is today is a consistent movement up the value chain.
When we look at your own trajectory as IT Minister now over 2 terms, one of the things you've really been at the center of is electronics manufacturing and indeed semiconductor manufacturing. Can you just take us through what this journey has been like? I mean, when you started talking about and pushing on these things, we were quite nascent, and you really now have the satisfaction of having seen a very big curve. Could you talk us through where the action is now and how the story has panned out?
It's very satisfying. It's very satisfying from multiple angles. First is the quantum of manufacturing which we have in our country today is phenomenal. More than almost $120 billion worth. And the much bigger part of the satisfaction is the kind of talent which is getting developed, the kind of skills which are getting developed. This is phenomenal. I've given this example before, but I would like to repeat it here. One of the factories where I visited, one of the young person who was working, she comes from a village which is about 200 kilometers away from Patna in Bihar. And when I asked her, what do you feel when you are handling this very complex SMT line? She said, when I go back to my village, I get more respect than the village sarpanch or the village pradhan, because when she tells that she is manufacturing mobile phones, people say, oh, mobile phones. And that's a big change. That's a very big change. So that kind of change is happening because of this industry. Today we have laptops coming out of the assembly lines. We have servers shipped out from VVDN factory in Manesar. We have Google Pixel getting manufactured here. Apple, of course, every new model they are manufacturing here. Again, the skill level, I wish I could show that thing which Tata Electronics showed me, where a cube of solid steel is cut in microns, and if you look at it from your naked eye, you won't be able to see whether there was a cut. So that kind of precision, and I asked the gentleman who was running Titan, I asked him whether the precision is higher or lower compared to what you were doing in Titan. He said it is magnitudes higher. So that's the change which is coming, and those skill sets are now getting developed. Now we are very focused on getting all the component ecosystem into our country. We have identified about 8 sub-modules where we can have a large-scale production, and the program is right now in the process of getting finalized. All the stakeholders are being consulted. That will give the next round of the next wave of manufacturing in our country.
And on semiconductors, what more can you tell us in terms of which facility will start shipping by when and so on?
See, the Micron facility will start shipping early 2025. The first made in India memory chips will be available. And the CG Power facility should also come up very fast. The construction work is going on. Tata's ATMP facility in Assam, construction work is going on very well. Fab, the technology agreement happened between Tata Electronics and Powerchip recently, just a few weeks ago. And what we are seeing is, we are seeing that the ecosystem which is needed, about 200 odd players who have to come in, their entire initial hesitant, the thoughts they had all got converted into that this is the next big semiconductor destination. India is going to be the next big semiconductor destination. That's something which they feel very comfortable about. We had the recent roundtable with the Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji, in which practically 3 out of the 40 odd CEOs who were present, they said in the 45 years, 35, 40 years of their career, they have never seen this kind of enthusiasm for any country. So they see, because of the talent, because of the consistency of our policies, because of the clarity of our thought, they see India as a major semiconductor nation in the coming years.
And this momentum on the pivot away from China, which many American manufacturers are seeking, is that momentum still strong? Is it waning? Would you say it's going strong and we're benefiting
That's
from it?
consistent. And I would say the biggest factor is the talent availability. That's a much bigger factor compared to the geopolitics. And that factor is a factor which is consistent driver of growth in our semiconductors. We are also seeing that some of the technologies which we were dependent upon other countries earlier, for example, in the case of packaging, within a short time frame of 1.5 years, the technology got developed by a team of about 80, 90 engineers sitting here in Hyderabad. So that kind of pace is today available. We are seeing some of these companies trying to acquire some of the product companies and get the IP and use the talent which is available here and add the manufacturing capability. So that process is already on.